the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Look, I don't know what's gotten into me. I could be off on my rocker potentially. Bigger I get, the more they think it less of me. Don't be the one to insult my integrity. Put down the whistle, I'm done with you referees. Y'all don't know nothing, you think you ejected me. Till I show up in the game, like remember me. I gotta make it, these people depend on me. Hey, that's how I'm living these days. Threaten my wife, keep digging that grave. I had a job making minimum wage. Told myself that I gotta get paid. Prove myself, yeah, get on my grades. Walk into class like, give me that A. Think I'm trash, put a bag in your face. And I put you by the road like, look what it's saying. Here's a reminder that I still spit. Think I need to advise you to watch your lip, or at least realize that I'm not no kid. Don't Google my name trying to find my crib. Write a pop song, then I write a song like this. Do a lot wrong, doesn't matter, I learn quick. I'm an outlaw, my brain has no fence. Doesn't matter either way to me, cause even if it did, I would destroy it. Used to be employee, now I'm employer. Making big deals, now I gotta get lawyers. People tell me to relax and enjoy it, but when I kick back, I see warning. Summertime, my past, can't ignore it. Every time I rap and I'm recording, might be my last, so I absorb it. Cause I gotta make it or make it. I gotta make it or make it, yeah. I gotta make it or make it, man. These are the options, these are the options. I gotta make it or make it. I gotta make it or make it, yeah. I gotta make it or make it, man. These are the options, these are the options. I gotta make it or make it. I gotta make it or make it. Woo! I gotta make it or make it, man. These are the options, these are the options. I gotta make it or make it. I gotta make it or make it. Woo! I gotta make it or make it, man. These are the options, these are the options. Tool bag without the pliers, intros without the choirs, new car without the tires, music without the writers, UFC without the fighters, smoking without the fire, cigarettes without the lighter. Austin Powers, no Michael Myers, that's me. If I ain't get the bars, you see, something ain't right, like I'm incomplete. Outcast, yes, I'm a different breed. If you disagree, make them all retreat. Act like a boss when I compete. Take my thoughts in a hyperspeed. When it's all gone and I hit my peak, at least I'll know that I took that leap. Cause life is a process, and I am not here for the nonsense. Losing everything I work for likes to weigh on my conscience. That's why I black out the comments. Who's next? Who's next? I don't know, I ain't been watching. Closing my ear to the gossip. I gotta make it, man. These are the options. No forfeiting, my course different. Change flows and I'm bored with it. More living, never more driven. I avoid timid. Try to tell me I can never be to go to rap. I ignore limits. I was born with the short trip and thinking I'm slipping. I'm enjoying it. Look at me, I'm on a tour selling more tickets. Even if the fourth record didn't sell a copy, I'ma do it like a hobby. I ain't quitting till the Lord tell me. I gotta make it or make it. I gotta make it or make it, yeah. I gotta make it or make it, man. These are the options, these are the options. I gotta make it or make it. I gotta make it or make it. Woo. I gotta make it, man. These are the options. I gotta make it, I gotta make it, woo. I gotta make it, man. These are the options. I gotta make it, I gotta make it, woo. I gotta make it, man. These are the options. 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 Yeah, these are the options.
Well, hello, and welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Turn 3 Racing Network Saturday Night Formula I action, being brought to you today from the great track here at Monza. This is the Italian Grand Prix in the Renault 3.5 Championship Series 4. These Formula I drivers qualifying just now getting underway, drivers still getting to their cars in the paddock, so we are not quite out there with any particular one driver on track. However, a few are out there, so tell you what, let's go take a look right around the track here with the 61 of Mark Bruni. And oh, Mark with a little bit of a moment here, he goes around, so I tell you what, let's take a look right around the track with the 02 of Carter Kundinger. A lot of other drivers still yet to get to their vehicles. Samuel Augsburger out there on track. Cedric Biel, Danny Hoekstra, Mark Bruning, Carlos Cotau, Thomas Ziegler hitting the track once again here with us at Formula I. So a lot of drivers out there on track already very early here at Monza. As we begin to get things working properly for you here, there you see your qualifying ticking away at the top of the screen. 28 minutes still here in qualifying, so a long, long way to go for these drivers to decide who is going to take that pole position. We will step away periodically here through qualifying to throw you a circuit guide, let you kind of get your hands around this 3.5 mile track consisting of 11 turns here at Autodromo Nazionale Monza. Man, I tell you what, this is probably one of my favorite road courses. Italian heritage, Italian background. So how can you not love Monza if you have any Italian blood pumping through you? I don't quite know, but that's not something that I get paid to think about or answer. So we'll just keep our mouth shut. Taking a look out on track, looks like the fastest driver turning in some laps right now is this 91 of Danny Hoekstra. Hoekstra has been on a tear lately in the past few Grand Prix races, qualifying very, very well up near the front almost every single Grand Prix. And oh, a moment there for Hoekstra into that inside wall. Doesn't tear the nose cone off, but he is going to need a new car, so we'll now follow the 5 of Carlos Cotau as he is just behind. I believe that is Cedric Biel just up in front of him, driver out of the MXS Racing stable. Carlos from Scuderia Portugal. So Carlos doing a good job scoring points in the last few Grand Prix. So he is fighting, scratching, clawing his way into the points standings. Speaking of the point standings, they look a little something like this heading into today's Italian Grand Prix. There you see Cedric Biel, driver who has been just a dominating force over the past 5 or 6 races, winning at least 4 of those, if my memory is correct. David Gill with a great run the past 2 races. Will Zoller still holding strong. Jason Siemens, Danny Holkstrup, Mark Bruning. There you see those Tulip Racing teammates right there in 5th and 6th. Your constructor points starting to get a little bit out of reach for some of these constructors. Crown Racing and Sim Racing right there on the outskirts of having a chance to fight back for the constructor championship. But they have got Siemens Privateer as well as MXS to contend with. Tulip Racing just on the outside looking in with those 64 points. So things could get very interesting here today at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. Monza, a very historical track. Been around for a very, very long time. And it's a track all of these drivers know rather well. So I would say the field is wide open as far as podiums are concerned here today. But you always have to watch as the cream rises to the top. Cedric Beal hitting the top of the board now. There you see him, 1.7 second difference between his fastest lap in the 02 of Carter Kundinger's lap. So field being put on notice very early here in qualifying as we work just under 25 minutes left here before we figure out who will have the pole position for today's Italian Grand Prix live on Turn 3 Racing Network. As we continue to watch Carlos Cotau go around the track, I tell you what, let's see if we can't jump back to the 61 of Mark Bruning from Tulip Racing. He is driving with one of our onboard cameras out there for today's Italian Grand Prix. So I tell you what, let's go down there on board now with the driver of that 61, Mark Bruning. Oh, and Mark with a bit of trouble. Guess we're giving some people some of that broadcaster's curse. As you see Troy Banks now beginning some of his timed laps. Yet to put down a lap. So this 08 machine trying to get around, see what he can do, see how the car shakes out. With all that being said, with about 20 minutes left to go here in qualifying, we're going to step away for just a brief moment. We will return with all of your qualifying action here from Monza for the Italian Grand Prix on Turn 3 Racing Network.
The Autodromo in the National Park of Monza. This circuit, a permanent track, the oldest on the Grand Prix calendar, built in 1922 with both a bank configuration and that road course layout. Lots of history, lots of passion. Too much to go into in this very short video, but enough to say that at Monza, if you love motor racing, you must be there. Turn 1, or the Lesmos, or indeed the Parabolica. Let's have a look at the circuit now in terms of elevation. Feels completely flat when you're there. Surprising to see that there are changes in elevation during the lap, but that doesn't count for anything. The real substance of the Monza lap, long straight still and chicanes, and then there's the Parabolica and the Ascari S's as well. So let's have a look at Turn 1, one of the great places to watch Formula One cars in my view, partly because it's an extended chicane. There's quite a lot of room to do something with the car there, and the rotation of the car mid-corner between turns 1 and 2, really critical, but relatively easy to see the drivers one different from another. Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, as ever, very, very good at this particular point of the circuit. Accelerate now out of turn 2 into turn 3, the Curva Grande. Not really a corner anymore, it is the straightaway, but of course that chicane was not always there, turns 1 and 2, and at that point Curva Grande was a really, really quick right-hander. Out of turn 3, heading towards the second chicane, the braking area into turn 4, 5, an obvious overtaking place. We do see passing there, but for me the really enjoyable part of 4, 5 is the exit, because there's a big curb on exit there, and you can be really quick even if you've got the car slightly sideways. If you let the car accelerate at the angle on which it hits the curb. If you see drivers trying to straighten the car on the curb, you know they are losing a bit of time there. Coming out of 4.5 into the two Lesmos, these corners are much slower than they used. But the exit of turn 7 is still a demanding part of the racetrack, and very important to keep the car on the left-hand side of the road as you're accelerating out of 7 and not move it across to the right too quickly. Now we approach one of the most famous parts of the circuit, the Ascari chicane, named after Alberto Ascari, who sadly lost his life coming out of this section in 1955 when he was testing a car for the first time since a few weeks before putting the Lancia Ferrari in the harbour at Monte Carlo. Again, the critical part here is the exit coming out of turn 10. Make sure the car stays absolutely in a dead straight line as you're accelerating, and don't fall into the temptation of moving the car across to the left too soon for the parabolica. Approaching the parabolica, which is turn 11, Thoughts turn inevitably if you're watching to Taffy von Trips, who lost his life there in 61, and then Jochen Rindt, who had an accident breaking into the parabolica in 1970. The parabolica is, as it looks on the map, it's got a decreasing radius, tight going in, and then the corner opens out. An interesting corner, and if you're lucky enough, you can get to stand on the marshal's post as they're coming in. I did that once in the 70s and early 80s, and you could see the heat building up on the left rear as the drivers just turned into the parabolica as the heat went across the tread of the tyre. Phenomenal to watch. And then the long straight, the historic straight. The grandstands are new on the left. There's still part of the old pits on the right, the cobblestone pits where they used to push the cars from there into the pit lane. It is part of the Paddock Club now, the sort of back end of the Paddock Club now. But if you can go there, you can still see a few of those cobblestones. And if you stand on the track there on a Thursday afternoon as the others are leaving the circuit, you can still smell years and years of motor racing history. Monza, nothing like it. Can't wait.
Thanks for staying with us here on Turn 3 Racing Network for the Italian Grand Prix live from Monza. It's the Formula I Renault 3.5 Championship Series, and just taking a little look around this very historical track. I mean, it is an absolute beauty of a thing. It does have an oval bank track there. You see it right there on the property. Not utilized very much, but it does have it. So, you know, very interesting. I'd be interested to see if some of the NASCAR drivers maybe would be willing to venture on over to Italy when everything calms down and we get back to normal life, whenever that happens to be. Be a nice little race over there. That'd be pretty cool. Anyways, with all that being said, looks like the 11 of Emilio Fernandez Garrido hitting the track right now. So we'll ride around with our cameras focused on Emilio as he makes his way around the track here at Monza. Do want to note what your qualifying board looks like, what the Super Pole is looking like. So we'll go ahead and throw the stats on screen so you can follow along as well. Cedric Beal sitting on top of the provisional pole position as we are right now. 17 minutes remaining here in qualifying for Formula I. The 19 of Michael Geringer sitting in second. Third place, the 91 of Danny Hoekstra. Brandon Ferrante sitting right there in fourth. Carter Kundinger in fifth. Samuel Augsburger in sixth. Carlos Cotau in seventh. Thomas Ziegler in eighth. Ninth, Jordan Thompson. And rounding out the top 10 so far here in qualifying is Mark Bruning. A little bit of traffic in front of Garrido, so going to be tough for him to put down that absolute scorching lap, that absolute flyer, but I'm sure he will find a way here to put down more of a qualifying lap as qualifying continues to run on. Gonna back up the cameras just a little bit, give you, big moment there for one of the Crown Racing drivers, I believe. No, that was actually Patrick Woodstrup that had some issues right there. Patrick getting out of the car, getting it out of the way rather quickly. Graham Lawhead and his 35 machine able to slot into 17th right now, so he's going to have to find some more speed out there as we inch closer to the 15 minutes remaining here in qualifying for Formula I's Renault 3.5 Championship here on Turn 3 Racing Network. We are live for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, and these Formula I drivers are tearing up this track. Very, very fast times being laid down out there right now. As a matter of fact, fastest time, a 1:34.265, which is extremely fast. And big moment there for Garrido in Albon as Pate got collected. We'll now find someone else to ride around. I tell you what, let's go up here. Focus on this one machine of Samuel Augsburger as he jumped from about 6th all the way up to 4th, so jumping 2 spots now, dropping his time to a 1:35.521. So still a lot of time for that driver to make up. We'll get rid of some of the graphics here on screen for you so we can focus on the qualifying at hand, what these drivers are trying to do. Great on-board shot here of the one machine as he heads off into, I believe that was Ascara, if my memory serves me correct. No, that was not. That was actually the first set of chicanes. So going through the Lesmos now is Augsburger. So sometimes even I, who absolutely love the track, get a little bit confused on where I'm at. Now coming up to the Escada chicane is Samuel Augsburger, going to come around through here, head off down this, it's a pretty decent size straightaway and into Parabolica. Driver just off in the background with a little bit of issue. I'm not sure who that was. That may have been the 14 of Chris Hansen. He is getting up to speed once again out there on the track. I believe that's who it was. Augsburger very wide there through Parabolica, getting a great launch back to the front stretch. See if he's able to improve his time. Last time by was a 1:36, so slower on the speed charts that time by for Augsburger. Let's see who else we can go out there and jump on board with. Tell you what, somebody we haven't been out there with very much. Here goes the 12 of Corey Whiting as he makes an attempt or two at some flying laps here at Monza. And there you see the speed through that chicane coming up to the Lesmos. 65 miles an hour through those corners. And ladies, I want you to think about that. The speed limit we drive on the interstate, or we all don't drive that speed limit, just going to say and throw that out there, but suggested speed limit, there you go. 65 miles an hour. So what we would drive on a straight, not a very sharp, winding highway, is what these drivers are doing through the center of 45 to sometimes they're 35-degree angle corners, 90-degree corners. I mean, the ability that these cars have because of the downforce coming over that nose cone and over that rear wing and on the side pods there, All of that is used to force that car down onto the ground to give it as much aerodynamic grip as possible. And then you add on the rocket science type engineering that goes into the framing and body work in the mechanical aspects of these cars, and that adds another, I don't know, 1500% grip. I mean, these cars are absolutely glued to the track. So you can get through a lot of these corners at a very high pace as we continue to watch the 12 of Corey Whiting come around the track. Corey only able to slot into the 16th position so far. We have a car off the track heading into, well, in between those Lesmos as we come down the straightaway once again, heading into the Ascara chicane for Whiting, all the way up to almost 173 miles an hour and down to 100 miles an hour through this chicane. So still very, very fast through there. There you see it up to almost 174 miles an hour, reaching the entrance to Parabolica. So these cars are flying out there. Don't think they're not moving. It looks like Whiting gonna cross the line. Will that time be faster? Yes, it will. That is his best lap so far, but not good enough to improve position. He's gonna stay in the 16th spot. We'll now jump up on board with Danny Hoekstra as he makes his way around the track for what may be one of his few final attempts at the Super Pole. You can see Hoekstra wiggling the car around just slightly, trying to gain some temperature in those tires. Now, do remember, we are back to our regular Grand Prix style event, so these drivers going to have to make at least one pit stop here today at Monza. So strategy could come into play as we work our way into the race. And I'm just wondering, I haven't heard much about tire wear, tire grip so far out of the drivers this week. So I believe the tires are holding up rather well. And with that being said, you may be able to pull that undercut a lot sooner than previous seasons and builds for this particular car. And I tell you what, that Tulip racing machine right there, whew, that is a piece of artwork. Ooh, a little bit of a moment there through the chicane for Hoekstra. He's able to gather it up, keep his composure, come through the second Lesmo, now down the long stretch as he heads towards the Ascara chicane one more time. Man, oh man, I tell you what, this has been an absolute lightning fast qualifying session here for the Formula I Renault 3.5 Championship Series here on Turn 3 Racing Network. And I mean, we're almost at the 5-minute mark. We are getting ready. Oh, big moment back there for another driver, trying to see who that was. Looks like that may have been Jordan Thompson, involved in a little bit of on-track difficulties. Hoekstra gonna come around. Let's see if he is able to improve from that third position. Not going to be able to pick up any spots. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to step away for just a brief moment here as these drivers begin to bring their cars back into the paddock and get things set and ready to go. Ready to go racing here for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. In just a brief moment, we will head on off for a special little moment here in Italy. So, yeah, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back.
the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
And sometimes you forget to unmute your mic because you do stupid things all the time. And when you do stuff like that, that would make you me. Dave, we're up in the booth, messing up as usual, you know. I gotta mess up one thing, otherwise it's just not a race for me. You know what I'm saying? As I was saying, though, that whole time, Cedric Beal walking away with the pole position here as we get set to get to the starting grid here for today's Italian Grand Prix. Mark Bruning with a good qualifying showing. Dave Guild also up there inside the top 10 in qualifying, so great job by him and his crew. And we're going to, I tell you what, we're going to head on down track side as these drivers have begun to hit the grid. We'll run through your starting order for today's Italian Grand Prix live from Monza. Pole position inside row number 1, the 2 of Cedric Beal. Just to his outside, the 19 of Michael Geringer. Row number 2, the 91 of Danny Hulkster and the 9 of Thomas Ziegler. Row number 3, Samuel Augsburger and Brandon Forante. Row number 4, the 18 of Dave Guild and the 02 of Carter Kundinger. Row number 5, the 15 of Jason Siemens and the 5 of Carlos Cotal. Drivers are getting ready to go. Green flag racing, so we will get set to watch this action. And we're green flag racing here at Monza Field. Jockeys through the back. Oh my goodness, a lot of drivers making a lot of moves right now. We'll head up to a little bit further distance now to the inside. Overshoot Nicole. Oh, Carlos Cotal through the corner and into Cedric Beal. Jason Siemens involved. David Guild involved. Oh my goodness, what has happened? We are going to have to take a real quick look back at that one more time. Take a look at our restart here. Looks like your leader, Cedric Beal, off to a good start. Everything looking okay behind him. There you see Carlos Cotal down there on the inside of the corner. Looks like he's going to get some help. Oh my goodness. And oh man, that is a lot of cars involved. And I think Danny Hulkster is going to be the driver that benefits the most through all of that melee. Oh my goodness, do you see what happened? My goodness, that absolutely nuts, and that has absolutely helped this man right here on screen as we rejoin your race leader. Danny Hulkster off to a 3.1 second lead over the field, but we do have some close battles behind him. Michael Geringer right there in second has Corey Whiting, Carlos Cotal, Mark Bruning, and Sam Augsburger right there behind him. Very long train of cars. The 20 of Brandon Ferrante right there running in the 9th position. Looking to the outside is Corey Whiting, not going to be able to make the pass. Looks like Geringer going to stay right there, and we've got drivers hitting pit road. Carlos Cotal hitting pit road. I believe that is Thomas Ziegler also on pit road as Hulkster continues to stretch his lead out to now 5 seconds, and we are just now on lap number 2. A lot of cars down into turn number 1. Very slow. Gotta watch Mark Bruning right there. Oh, and Mark goes around. Not quite sure what happened there with Bruning. We'll take a real fast look at what happened with Bruning, and it looks like he may have just got on the gas a little bit hard right there. We'll take a look from the blimp cams here, see if we see any contact from behind. Doesn't look like no contact at all. Just on the gas a little bit too soon and not able to keep the grip in those rear tires. Meanwhile, your race leader, Danny Hulkstra, has now opened up almost a 6-second gap back to this man right here, Michael Geringer, in the 19 machine, sitting in the 2nd spot. Corey Whiting right there. Now Carl Flemister and Emilio Garrido battling with each other. Jordan Thompson right there battling as well. A lot of positions still up for grabs very early here in the Italian Grand Prix as we work on lap 3 out of 32. Your top 9 still within about 10 seconds of each other, and normally 10 seconds on a NASCAR style race is a very, very long time, but when your lap is almost a minute and 35 seconds, 10 seconds is not very much. Uh-oh, and things going crazy, things happening, not good there. Not good. What in the world has just taken place? Oh my. Apparently, somebody didn't like whatever camera or car combination I had. So, yeah. Continuing to watch the 19 of Michael Geringer go around this track trying to chase down Danny Hulkstra. Not able to do very much with that gap. Hulkstra still out to a 5.8 second lead. Corey Whiting finds himself about 9 seconds behind Michael here, running in the third position. So a lot of drivers with some issues on that very first lap. Turn one can be a nightmare sometimes, and it was for a few drivers, and it looks like that may be a little bit of a problem child there. So we'll jump around to another driver if it acts right, and there we go. Everything back up the way it should be. Having a little bit of issues there with a few of the drivers, so very, very interesting on that for sure. But we'll continue to roll on as we always do here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Thanks for joining myself and everybody else here at Turn 3 Racing Networks. Man, we appreciate you each and every time you head to the track with us. These Formula I drivers appreciate it. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the thumbs up, click the subscribe, smash the bell on the right-hand side, get notified anytime we go live here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Several different leagues, several different series, all types of platforms from Formula to Indy to the 10 top NASCAR, Cup, trucks. We've got modifieds, dirt cars coming soon to Turn 3 Racing Network. So what you want, we got it. Come on, check us out anytime you want to here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Meanwhile, the 11 of Emilio Fernandez Garrido coming through the field, having a good solid run so far, running in the 5th position. Heading his way down through Lesmo number 1, then through the little short stretch to Lesmo number 2. And he is trying to run down the 16 of Carl Flemister, running in the 4th spot. Great run by that 16 machine of Flemister. And some little random camera issues going on right now. Not sure what that is all about, ladies and gentlemen. It has not done that in quite a while, but we will continue to work through these things as well. You know, it is the internet. Things are happening. Big things are happening here on iRacing. We do have the IndyCar Series Pro Invitational, I believe that's the name of it, going to be run live at 4 p.m. Eastern time here on iRacing. A lot of IndyCar professionals going to be hitting the track with some of our very own iRacing.com race car drivers. So go on and check that out. But check this out right here. This man, since the issues at the beginning of the race. Whoa, what a great shot there coming overhead. Man, that was awesome. Absolutely amazing. But this man right here on screen, the 91 of Hulkstra, since the lap 1 incident that a lot of drivers found themselves in, he has been able to capitalize and keep his ship headed the right direction. Just behind him, that is the 22 of Patrick Woodstrup. Woodstrup has already found himself with some trouble. He's being scored 1 lap down, but he has hit pit road twice already. So he is not going to have to make another pit stop at all. But I don't see it working out for him, playing the long game, stretching it all the way to the end. I don't think he's going to be able to make up enough time staying out here, as it looks like Hulkstra's able to step away from him, and that 19 of Michael Geringer is slowly closing in. He slowly dropped that gap. The gap was right at the 6-second mark now, just a little bit under 5 minutes. As what a great action shot. You can see those hands moving in the machine. See Hulkstra working that wheel down through the turns number 1 and 2, down through Curva Grande here, then gonna head off to the Lesmos. And man, I tell you what, we have got some of the best cameramen in the business. Want to give a big shout out to Track Cams by Grommets, camera sponsor and provider here at Turn 3 Racing Network. So hats off to all of you guys. Great camera work that you guys have out there. If you haven't already, go check them out. The link for it is in the description down there in the bottom. Go check those guys out. Man, I tell you what, beautiful angles. Look at that. Looking through the field, looking to see if I can bring you a battle or two for position. Looks like this right here is for position. That is Graham Lawhead running in the 9th spot. Thomas Ziegler just behind him wants to take that spot away and work his way up through those points-paying positions. Does he have what it takes? Both of these drivers, or I should say one of these drivers, already onto pit road. Ooh, close battle here. Zier looking to the inside, gonna have the pass, the preferred position, and Lawhead gonna yield to the 10th spot on track. Great race out here today, live from Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. This is Formula I Renault 3.5 Championship Series here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Your race leader, Danny Hoekstra, still with a 4.5 second race lead over your second place runner, Michael Geringer. And then a good bit of distance, another 8 seconds back to your third place runner, Corey Whiting, in his 12 machine, as we continue to watch Lawhead now have to deal with Chris Hansen and Samuel Augsburger making their way up to his rear gearbox. My goodness, we'll have to wait and see what happens, but I'm guaranteeing you it is not over yet for these next few positions. Lawhead yielding the spot to Hansen. That's going to relegate Lawhead back to the 11th spot. Just behind him now is that 22 of Patrick Woodstrup, as he is trying to make his way back up through the field, but being scored one lap down. Great race by a lot of great drivers. Gonna jump back up here. Oh, little bit of issues connection-wise for one of these drivers right here. We're gonna see if we can't figure out which one it is. I believe that is Corey Whiting with some issues. As Whiting trying to stay in front of Flemister, and then Emilio Fernandez Garrido right there waiting in the wings. Brandon Ferrante right there as well. Great on-board shot here with the 11 of Garrido. As you see the cars in front of him, a little bit of blinking action. So those cars, as you can tell, not one of the issues here on the end in the production booth. Sometimes just connections are just the way they are. Drivers making their way around the track rather smoothly now, so I tell you what, while we have a chance, let's go ahead and run through some of your in-race information here from Turn 3 Racing Network. Starting in third now, running in the first position, leading this field by 4.1 seconds, the 91 of Danny Hoekstra. Running in the second spot, the 19 of Mark Geringer. Right there, you see him started second, still in second. He blew the first corner, and luckily or fortunately for himself, that kept him out of some of that melee. Running in the third position, starting all the way back in 14th, Corey Whiting has made his way all the way up to the third spot as we are getting close to halfway here in the Italian Grand Prix, working lap number 10 out of 32. Running in the fourth position, there you see him just behind Whiting is the 16 of Carl Flemister. Carl starting in 11th, now up to 4th. And Emilio Fernandez Garrido right there started 12th. It is now running in 5th, just a little bit, about another 4 seconds back till you get to your 6th place runner right here, Brandon Ferrante, as he started 6th, still in 6th, fell back to 8th at one point in time, but he continues to try to track down those 3 cars in front of him. Mark Bruning, after an early spin, recovering rather well, started 15th, now currently running in the 7th spot as he comes around the straightaway here. I believe this is the straightaway into Parabolica. Yes, it is. See, sometimes I get it right, too. 8th position, Thomas Ziegler started in 4th. All the way back to 8th now. Thomas looking to get his race headed in the opposite direction. The 33 of Pate Albin back here dealing with Chris Hansen in the 14 machine. So those two drivers mixing it up with each other. Albin now back into the 10th spot. Chris Hansen going to take over the 9th spot. There you see them both started way deeper in the field than where they are running now as they continue to battle for this 10th position. Looks like Albin goes to the inside, gonna have the preferred line into the braking zone, misses the braking zone. He's through the course. He's gonna have to yield some time here, and that's gonna allow Hansen to get by. Will it allow Samuel Augsburger? There you see him just in the distance. He's going to be closing in here momentarily, so fortunately for Hansen, able to stay. I should say for Albin, I apologize. Fortunate for Albin, he was able to hold off Augsburger for just a brief moment. Now Augsburger making his way through. Jason Siemens involved in an incident earlier as well. Finds himself in 12th, running just behind Albin now through the first Lesmo. Coming to Lesmo number 2, then we will hit this straightaway heading into the Ascara chicane. Big look at the driver of that 15 machine, Jason Siemens, and his Siemens Privateer. Renault 3.5 machine, he's getting the job done. Great look right there into the visor of that 15 machine. He is now trying to make his way up to Samuel Augsburger as he was able to make the pass on Albin that last time by. Now running in 11th. Gonna see, oh my goodness, craziness going on once again with another driver. So we'll reload, restart, no problems. And oh my goodness, something must have taken place up here. Trying to look at the nose, trying to look at everything on this car, as Geringer has fell way behind. Hoekstra now 11 seconds behind this man right here, your race leader. And Hoekstra, he is almost opening up a chance to not have his pits affected when he does decide to hit pit road. Pit delta looks to be somewhere right around the 32-second mark. And there you see, off to your left-hand side, he has got almost 31.2 seconds back to the 7th place runner. So he could pit and still come out somewhere inside the top 6, knowing that the drivers in front of him still have to make their one and only mandatory pit stop. We work lap number 13 out of 32 here today for the Italian Grand Prix, live on Turn 3 Racing Network. Hulkstra continuing to put down some blazing fast laps that last time by only 0.2 of a second slower than his fastest lap, so he is keeping the pace in the tires very late in the run, and that is a very, very good thing to see out of your driver and his tire management as he's managed, built, and a car going around Jordan Thompson around and into the safer barriers. My goodness, looks like he just got a little crossed up there. Backs it into the barrier. We'll take one more look at this. Everything seems to be okay. A little bit of curb action there. Car gets out from under him. He loses it. Backs it into the wall. Ugh. That's a hard one to swallow. He's going to give up a ton of time in a ton of ground. Going to be sitting in the 16th spot. Now being scored. The first car 1 lap down. Meanwhile, up here towards the front of the field, battle still brewing. Emilio Fernandez Garrido able to take away the 3rd spot from Corey Whiting. Carl Flemister right there in tow. Garrido in his Heineken machine. My goodness, that thing is pretty. It sure is pretty. Racing good, looking good for Garrido as he makes his way around the track. Lap 14, almost to the halfway point here on Turn 3's Racing Network for the Italian Grand Prix. That's right, it's Formula I Renault 3.5 Championship. Man, I tell you what, these drivers, besides the incident in Turn 1, have put on an absolute phenomenal show out there. And, you know, things like that happen. I've seen it happen many, many times in the F1 ranks, so nothing to hang your head about, nothing to be ashamed about. It's just racing, brother. Looking through the field, this is one of your closest battles. Still, these 3 drivers only separated by about 1.5 seconds as Garrido continues to pull away from these 2. He's going to stay out on track. Look like he might think about heading down into pit lane, but he is going to stay right where he is at. Ooh, big moment there for Garrido. Almost out of shape. That could have spelled trouble for him. Oh, and we have trouble just behind him. Carl Flemister is around, and his car looks broke. Let's see what happened here between him and, I believe, that is Corey Whiting. One more look here. Whiting on the outside into the corner. Everything looks okay. Runs a little short. Gets on the gas, and around he goes. Nothing Flemister could really do right there, so tough break for him. Just caught up in an unfortunate situation at an unfortunate, that would have been like a double negative, so that wouldn't work out. But anyways, you knew what I was trying to say. Unfortunate for Flemister, running very good, now being relegated back to the 7th position. Garrido still working his way around the track, still trying to close the distance between himself and Michael Geringer in the 19 machine. He is about 7 seconds behind, so still a long race ahead of Garrido if he wants to get the job done and improve his 3rd position. Brandon Ferrante running in the 4th spot. He is 5 seconds behind Emilio. And could Ferrante, by the end of this thing, get his way up into the pole positions? There you see him just off in the distance, hounding, stalking, trying to get to the gearbox of this 11. Looking through the field now, gonna take another eye on Carl Flemister. Looks like he's got his machine okay. Everything's gonna be all right with him. Just behind him, though, do have a few drivers hitting pit road. Looks like Corey Whiting gonna bring his 12 machine down pit road. And we are now to the point where if Hulkstra were to pit, he should be able to rejoin the field running in the 4th position. So he has almost opened up that pit delta, that gap to where an undercut is almost out of the question at this point in time. I mean, it's absolutely amazing the way that Hoekstra is managing this race lead. You do have to remember Hoekstra winning one of the dual races in Detroit. One of his very first race wins here in Formula I, and did it in an amazing fashion, and looking to repeat as he has led every single lap out there today. 16 laps in the book for Hoekstra. We are on lap 17 out of 32 for today's Italian Grand Prix. 16 laps left to go, and the man on screen, the man on the mission, Danny Hoekstra from Tulip Racing, with a 10.5-second lead over the second place runner, Michael Geringer. And it looks like Geringer going to have an issue. Had a little bit of an issue, and Garrido was able to make a pass. Oh my, I really want to see that pass. And now a pass back to the inside. Oh, these two drivers mixing it up. This is absolutely great to watch. And Hoekstra's loving every minute of it, because he has now opened up 18 seconds over Geringer, running in the second position. Back on board with the 11 of Garrido as he makes his way into, I believe this is the Ascara chicane, coming out to the long stretch here. Will he utilize the slipstream to try to make a move on entry to Parabolica, or will he try to set up the exit pass and make a run at it down into turn one? Not close enough to do anything with it. He's going to be stuck trying just to utilize the slipstream to pull even with him. Big run down into turn number one. Out braking. Oh my goodness. Out braking Garrido was Geringer, as Danny Hoekstra, he's made his pit stop. He is back on track, and he is running in the third position. So Hoekstra opened up the time and took advantage of it as soon as possible. He is running in the third position, just in front of his teammate at Tulip Racing, Mark Bruning, doing a fine job running in that fourth spot. But Hoekstra looking to capitalize greatly on his decision to hit pit road. He's got nobody in front of him. He can put down some flying laps right here. He's got a 12-second gap to the next car in front of him, so he can absolutely just hammer time here and maybe make up even more ground over these two drivers right here at the front as they continue their battle. Geringer running in first in the 19, the 11 of Emilio Fernandez. Garrido sitting right there in second, right there on the gearbox. Can he get the job done through Parabolica one more time? And we will head back to the line to begin lap 19 out of 32. Both of these drivers electing to stay on the track, giving up a little bit more time now on or up to Hoekstra, who is back there running in the third position, 14 seconds back, but he has made his pit stop, where your front runners, Geringer and Garrido, they have yet to hit pit lane. Not to mention now trouble for Geringer as he heads his way into the back markers here. He has got a few cars in front of him. Graham Lawhead right there trying to stay on the lead lap. He is going to yield the spot, head down to the inside, give the position to your race leader. Come up right back in front of Garrido, though. So Garrido having to take evasive maneuvers order to try to stay with Gehringer, and he has given up just about a second now, trying to get by Graham Lawhead, but he's going to continue to try to chase down that 19 of Gehringer. Hoekstra picking up about a second so far this lap, so those fresh tires are beginning to show up. These older, worn-out tires, 19 laps old, beginning to show some signs of weakness, some signs of slowing down as Hoekstra is gaining precious time on the drivers around him. Through 1 and 2, trying to catch back up to your race leader now, following 1.7 seconds behind Emilio Fernandez Garrido, trying the best he can, but not able to get up there to him just yet. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that may be the 18 of Dave Guild now yielding the position after running wide. And just looking at timing and scoring right now, it's very important to note that after picking up about a second and a half, almost 2 seconds on the front runners, Danny Hoekstra hasn't been able to make up any more time so far. So I tell you what, let's jump back here with Hoekstra, and no, there is no traffic around him, so that is not coming into play. Maybe Hoekstra just saving a little bit of these tires for a little bit later of a run, maybe when he can cycle back to the race lead. But I don't know. I think while I was in clean air, I would be going hammer down right now. But that's also why I don't get paid to come up with strategies and change things on the cars, because, well, I'm not that smart. Shocking, isn't it? Emilio Garrido hitting pit road that time by, so he's going to give up that second position. That's going to leave this man right here, Michael Gehringer, running out on the track by himself. 21 laps into his green flag run. Looks like almost every driver, except for, Cedric Beal has been to pit road. Only Michael Gehringer out there on track, not going to pit road yet here today for Formula I's Renault 3.5 Championship. This is the Italian Grand Prix live from Monza here on Turn 3 Racing Network. A little bit of cleanup as we get to the 12 lap to go mark. 23 drivers took to today's Grand Prix grid. We still have 16 cars running on track. 11 still on the lead lap. Pate Albin sitting in the 12th spot. His 33 machine being scored as the first car 1 lap down. Chris Hansen is the first driver off track in the 17th position. 18th will be Jordan Thompson. 19th, Carter Kundinger. Carlos Cotau, after some very early trouble, finds himself in the 20th spot. 21st, Will Zoller. 22nd, Troy Banks. And finishing out the racing order here today as we run right now in 23rd, the 44 of Stefan Grabowski. And looks like Gehringer gonna hit pit road, so that is going to put Hoekstra back to the point, and he has now gained a lot of time. But I tell you what the battle's gonna be. Let's keep our eye right here with this man, Emilio Fernandez Garrido, as him and Gehringer were battling there before the pit stops. Let's see how they rejoin the track, and oh my. It looks like Gehringer was able to put in some amazing in-laps, I apologize, because he has opened up almost a 5-second gap over Garrido, so maybe Not such a great stop. I'm trying to look through the stopwatches here, and their times are almost mirroring each other. So it had to have been those in laps just prior to the pit stops that was able to give Gehringer such a great advantage over Garrido running in the third spot. Absolutely crazy. And we'll go ahead and get rid of the graphic right there for you as we're going to jump around the field here just a little bit, highlight a few of our racing drivers. Your race leader sitting up at the front, no problems, no issues, loving life right now. This 91 machine of Danny Hoekstra out of Tulip Racing, taking full advantage of the turn 1, lap 1 incident, and has not looked back as he puts Graham Lawhead 1 lap down here. We are working lap 23 out of 32 here today in the Italian Grand Prix for Formula I's Renault 3.5 Championship Series on iRacing.com, the world's #1 racing simulator. You are watching Turn 3 Racing Networks. Thank you for joining myself, Dave World, up in the booth, getting you all the great action on track explained and figured out and showing you where it's all going down. And it doesn't look like there is much going down as far as changing of positions. A lot of drivers doing an excellent job through their pit stop strategies to open up gaps to the cars that were chasing him or chasing them. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and run down your top 5 as they are on track right now. Running in first, the 91 of Danny Hoekstra, long way back to the second man running on track, the 19 of Michael Gehringer right there, almost 14 seconds behind. Another 6 seconds behind Gehringer, and you will find Garrido as he runs in the third spot. 27 seconds behind your race leader. The 2 of Cedric Beal had a incident there, caught up in that lap 1, turn 1 incident, and he has found himself managing a good comeback, now inside the top 5, running in the 4th spot. Rounding out that top 5 is the 20 of Brandon Ferrante, as he has had a good solid drive. No real issues, no real trouble for Ferrante as he continues to try to drive up through the field. And it looks like Cedric Beal having to come to hit pit road. He may be giving up a position or two now. Back to 5th. Will Mark Bruning be able to make a pass? Looks like Bruning's going to come through. And oh my goodness, who was that just behind Hoekstra? Big moment there for one of our drivers. And Hoekstra just ice cold right now, trying to get to the finish line, trying to win race number 2 for him this season. And Hoekstra has absolutely come on very strong late in this season here in Formula I. Mark Bruning, his Tulip Racing teammate, right here running in the 5th position. Great run by Mark. Mark having some early issues as well, spinning the car out in one of the chicanes, able to get it headed back in the right direction. No damage for him, just put himself well behind. Carl Flemister right there on the gearbox of Bruning, trying to piggyback off of some of the air being moved by the 61. Not able to really do anything with it as Flemister, as he's going to lose a little bit of ground now through Parabolica and back. Oh my goodness. Whew. Very early day for me here today. Tell you what I need. I need me some Kabang energy candy. That's what I need right there. Kabang Energy Candy, number 1 energy candy in the world. Start your day off with a kick. Mark Bruning doing a good job keeping Carl Flemister just behind him. This is your closest battle on track. Cedric Beal and Thomas Seeger have just about the same distance between them, a little further back through the field. That is for 8th and 9th. We will join this battle back here as it has closed up just a little bit closer. And it's about a three-car little battle here between Corey Whiting, Cedric Beal, and Thomas Seeger. We'll have to wait and see who has what it takes, who has the patience, who has the bravery. I was gonna say something else, but we'll go with the bravery to outbreak his fellow competitor into one of these very fast straightaways that end with a very tight corner. Looking to the outside of Whiting is Beal. He will make the pass into the Parabolica. Very close on entry there. Able to slot across the nose, though, of Whiting. He's going to accelerate off back down the front stretch here. Crossing the line. And he will take over that 7th position. Now he can focus in on closing a big gap up to the 16 of Flemister. Whiting trying hard to get back by on the outside. Beal shutting it down, not having any of it. He's going to accelerate off and around Curva Grande and up to the Lesmos. 1 and 2 here as Beal tries to stretch a gap and get away from the 12 of Whiting. Now into Meanwhile, back at the front, Danny Hawkstra continuing to do what he has done all day, and that is lead this Italian Grand Prix. Hawkstra now leading 22 laps out of the 27 laps that have been run. So Hawkstra with a great drive here today at Monza. Michael Geringer right there in second. Emilio Fernandez Garrido right there in third. Looking for some battles on track to give you, and it looks like Carl Flemister trying to still take or retake that 5th place away from Mark Bruning, but Bruning and his Tulip Racing Machine not having any of it. He is maintaining that 5th position rather well. Still has Flemister right there on his gearbox, not giving up just yet. Speaking of gearbox, we'll take a look back from the gearbox here of the Tulip Racing Machine. Mark Bruning taking a look back at Carl Flemister. A little bit wide there on exit for Flemister. That's going to give Bruning just a little bit more breathing room, as they're going to go down the long straight and in to the Escarra chicane here. Beautiful shots out there on track today. And just look how close. I mean, these cars are almost scraping the ground. Bruning and Flemister not giving up on positions. Flemister wants the 5th spot. Bruning wants to keep it. They haven't been able to really close in on the 20 machine of Ferrante running in the 4th spot. That's about a 7-second gap to him in front of them. And Garrido has not a care in the world running in that 3rd and final podium position, 15 seconds out in front of Ferrante. So as long as Garrido plays it smart here for these last final laps, he should walk away with a podium spot. Michael Geringer running in the 2nd position. He should have a good finish here, as well as he makes his way around Parabolica. Gonna take 4 laps left to go for Geringer. And my goodness, your race leader now almost a 20-second lead over the field. This man right here, Danny Hoekstra, with one hell of a drive here today at Monza, able to avoid the turn 1 lap 1 incident and turn it in to a diamond, a gold mine. It was no looking back since then. Only gave up the lead when he hit pit road, and that was only for 4 laps. He since has regained the lead and not looked back. And why? There is no reason. But we will have a reason to watch the podium positions, as they may change hands here. Looks like 2nd and 3rd still not quite determined yet. These 2 drivers not just settling for where they run, they are still trying to overtake each other for position, as we will go up high in the sky with one of our drone cameras as we watch the field go around the track. And well, quite honestly, I like the picture, but I think we need to do a little bit of landscaping here at Monza, get those trees trimmed up just a little bit, maybe have a little different views here of the course. Nonetheless, great drone camera work here today at Monza. And I tell you what, these 2 drivers, they are trying to put on a show here in the final 3 laps. Emilio Fernandez Garrido running in the 3rd position, trying to work his way up and into the 2nd spot. Michael Geringer right there in front of him, trying to maintain that position. And it has been an absolute great battle to watch here. And Geringer with some trouble. That's going to give the spot to Garrido. We'll back it up, take a look at what happened here on the gas. Oh, car almost went around. Great job saving that machine. That was an absolute great save there by Geringer, not giving up any more time than what he already did. But unfortunately, that is going to relegate him about 2.5 seconds behind Emilio Fernandez Garrido, now running in the 2nd spot. And my, just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost done racing. My goodness, that, big time moment there as Geringer blew the corner. He does have a lot of time to give up, so I don't think that's going to affect the finishing order, but my goodness, he has 1 or 2 little issues like that again before the end of this race, and Brendan Ferrante is going to be right there breathing down his neck. We will rejoin your race leader up at the front for his final few laps here at Monza. Look at him get through them corners. And Patrick Woodstrip right there in the foreground going into the corner, running into 12th position, 1 lap down. He is trying his best to stay only 1 lap down here at Monza. Unfortunately, very early had some issues, and he has found himself with a pretty dismal race because of it. 1 to go here from Monza for the Italian Grand Prix for Formula I's Renault 3.5 Championship here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Danny Hoekstra through turn number 1 and 2 around Curva Grande now. My goodness, what a great feeling has got to be going through the driver of that 91 right now. I'm sure the adrenaline is pumping. He's wanting to celebrate already, but we still got business to deal with. Hoekstra making his way into the Lesmos. Lesmo 1 taken care of. 2 out of the way to the straightaway now. Almost halfway done with his lap. The final lap here. Down in, heading into the Ascara chicane goes Hoekstra. No issues. Away and through. Off of turn number 10. Back down the long straight to Parabolica. Hoekstra, no one in sight. As long as he makes it through the corner, we'll have our Italian Grand Prix champion, the 91 of Danny Hoekstra out of Tulip Racing. Captures the checkered flag here today. Oh my goodness. Danny Hoekstra, an amazing drive. Celebrating already, field still having to come around, but Hoekstra burning it down already. So ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to step away here for just a brief, and I have no idea what Pote Raced interviews are. That's supposed to be an S on there, but apparently I have got some fat fingers, so we'll have to deal with that as well. Wow. Never a dull moment here with Darkside Dave. Dave in the cave, messing things up. You know what it is. That's how we roll. Don't go anywhere, though, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after a brief commercial break with your post-race driver interviews here on Turn 3 Racing Network. And thank you for rejoining us here for your post-race interviews on tap today. Well, on tap today, obviously, gonna get in some words with your race winner of the Italian Grand Prix, Danny Hoekstra, my man, getting it done. Great job.
Yeah, thanks, man. Boy, what a race.
Man, walk us through turn 1, lap 1.
I gotta tell you, I drive in VR, so I don't see a lot. But what happened is that I had a quite a good start. I reacted a bit more quick than Cedric did, and I knew that he was taking the inside like instantly. So I took the outside, and I thought, well, if I come through third, no problem, because I know that corner is really tricky with all the cars together. And I knew also that Michael Geringer, I guess, the new guy, he was also on the inside. So I knew I had to watch out, but he kind of, overdid it, or how do you say, overdrived it. And then I don't know who, but someone like torpedoed into Cedric, and then I got through and had a gap instantly. So I knew that, if I just do my own thing, a podium should be there. And Geringer was way faster than I was, but I didn't care because I knew this track is very, very difficult to be consistent and don't make any mistakes for an hour. So I took it kind of slow but safe, and then he caught me every lap, but then he for some reason made a little mistake, and again, and that gave me the gap to just take it home.
Oh, that you did, my man. The only laps you actually didn't lead were the laps that right after you hit pit road for your one and only stop. So you were able to build a gap, stop before the drivers behind you come out and build a big gap. So it was just kind of race management, huh?
Yeah, well, like I said, I knew this track, I had to do that, and I had to forget to be the quickest, because, that's not the most important thing on this track. It's very, very tricky. So respect for a couple of guys that were quick. I mean, Cedric, amazingly fast in qualifying as well. The new guy, Michael Geringer, very fast. I mean, half a second quicker than I was. And I knew they could do it in race pace, but they made a mistake. Cedric just had bad luck. So I knew that I just had to, manage the race like you said, and luckily I did.
Yes, sir, that you did. Well, Danny, before we let you go, celebrate your second race win of the season so far. Would you like to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous, anything like that?
Yeah, well, I want to thank Dave Gilt. He hosted many practice sessions for us this week, so thanks for hosting them so we could practice. And thank you, of course, again. Of course, also thanks to my teammate. He was 6th, I believe, so great points for the team as well. And he trained with me a lot this week. And my dad, of course, my spotter. Great job. And I hope this time in the broadcast the tracks didn't hit the cars.
No, sir. No tracks hitting the cars, but we did have post race interviews because I got fat fingers and I pressed an A instead of an S. But, I can't spell anyway. So, it is what it is, my man.
Typical you, but I like it, man.
Yeah, you know what it is. Anyways, once again, Danny, great job. Great second part of the season for you as well, my man. Hats off, and we'll look to catch up with you at our next Grand Prix.
Yeah, Gilles Villeneuve, another very nice but technical track with walls coming in very close, very quick. So we'll see.
All right, there you have it. That was your race winner, the driver of the 91 machine, Danny Hoekstra, getting the job done, walking away with the race win. And that is going to bring us to our final results for today's Italian Grand Prix here on Turn 3 Racing Network. On iRacing.com, your race winner, the 91 of Danny Hoekstra, coming home in second, the 11 of Emilio Fernandez Garrido, and in third, the 19 of Michael Geringer, in fourth, the 20 of Brandon Ferrante. Fifth place goes to Carl Flemister, while in ninth, Marcellus Bruning finishes a great run in his 61 machine. 7th place goes to the 2 of Cedric Beal, who after turn 1, lap 1 incident, made his way back up into the top 10. Great drive back up through the field for that 2 machine. Dave Guild in his 18 machine slots home in the 8th position, while in 9th, the 12 of Corey Whiting. Rounding out your top 10, the 35 of Graham Lawhead finds himself being scored. The first car 1 lap down, and after a great beginning first half of the Italian Grand Prix, Pate Albin relegated back to the 11th position, 1 lap down, also finishing 1 lap down. The 22 of Patrick Woodstrup in the 12th position. 13th here today for the Italian Grand Prix was the 9 of Thomas Ziegler, followed in 14th by the 15 of Jason Siemens. 15th place goes to the 23 of Danny O'Keefe, and 16th, Samuel Augsburger. 17th spot goes to the 14 of Chris Hansen, while the 18th spot goes to the man driving the 17 machine, Jordan Thompson. 19th spot, the 02 of Carter Kundinger, and finishing 20th, the 67 of Will Zoller. 21st spot here today after being punted through turn number 1, lap number 1, will be the 5 of Carlos Cotal. 22nd goes to the 08 of Troy Banks, in the 44 of Stephen Grabowski will round out the field in 23rd position. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all she wrote here from Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. Once again, from myself, Darkside Dave, Dave in the Cave, whatever you want to call me, and all the rest of the guys back at Turn 3 Racing Network. We do appreciate each and every time you join us here on Turn 3 Racing Network. These Formula I drivers, whether it's them or any of the other leagues and series we have out here, we all appreciate everything you fans do. Whether it's just chatting with us, whether it's picking up some of the Turn 3 merchandise, we appreciate every single thing and every moment we have with you guys. With everything going on in the world, I'm going to leave you with some parting words. I normally don't do something like this, but everybody, this stuff is bad. It's not just here in America. It's all over the world. Let's be safe. Let's be smart. Let's pray for our loved ones. Let's pray for our neighbors. And if you hate somebody or you dislike them, pray for them too, because you never know what this thing has the potential to do. It is out there and it is dangerous. Take it seriously. And well, my friends, stay safe. Be loved. God bless. And we will see you later.